Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Y'all, we are back with a brand new review for Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 13. If you are new here, then welcome. I give lighthearted reviews with a little bit of laughter and a little bit of shade and a whole lot of detail. If you're back for a second or third time, then welcome back. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. We are getting closer to decision day. Yes, Lord. Child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. 17 days until decision day. So Jasmina said that they're in a really good place and a good point in their marriage, and they made a pact to give it 100%. Sure you did. Noi was like, it's really hard to communicate effectively because you communicate on Instagram. Moving forward, Mark is saying navigating a healthy relationship is hard with Lindsay. Child, both of y'all need some work. Katina and Olajuwon. So this time they're going to the grocery store together, because last time Katina came back with the Last Supper, like one loaf of bread, feed everybody. Baby, Katina came back with one loaf of bread and one bottle of water, child. So they're in the store, right? And she's like, do you like hot fudge? She's like, it's depending on what you're trying to do with it. Boy, bye. You ain't about to do nothing with that, honey. You don't even want to get it popping before decision day. So they're looking for different meats and whatnot. And she was like, what about this? And what about that? And he's like, no. Same way with Mark and Lindsay. And he said, with grocery shopping, he has to guide her because they don't eat the same thing. So then he sees ribs and she's like, yeah, I can make ribs. He was like, you can make ribs? That's what you keep saying about every other meat. How do you make ribs? She was like, yeah, you just season it and then put a little barbecue sauce on it. Okay, sounds about right. He said, how do you season it? She gonna say, well, you get some salt and baby, absolutely not. But before you get into the seasonings of it all, Katina, Isaac, why don't you grill it? Do you know how to grill? Oh, no? Oh, okay. So she's like, just put some salt and pepper. Honey, you can't cook, girl. You just can't cook, child. Because ribs need more than salt and pepper. Where's the garlic powder, the onion powder, the mustard rub? Baby, when you marinate, no thanks. Okay? No thanks. It's like absolutely hell no. But thank you for trying, Katina. Moving forward, Lindsay and Mark. There's another episode, another fight, and he's still asking her to speak with some respect, and she still feels unheard, and she doesn't feel seen, and he feels disrespected, and I feel bored. Why are y'all arguing about the same things? Episode in and episode out. Y'all are a mess. So he said the last 5 weeks have been very hard, and even when they try to have fun together, it comes back around. Okay, it's still some bull the next day. She says she feels like he hasn't shown up in their marriage. He is once again going back to how they speak to each other. So Lindsay is crying once again. Lindsay, we need to see someone once a week, babe. We need to see somebody. Because this is more than just Mark. You are upset and crying every episode. Every one of them, and it's almost making me sad for you. I think we might need to see somebody. Now, I'm not trying to diagnose you, honey, because I don't get into the psychologicals of it all, because this is just fun commentary. But from what I'm viewing, there is a sadness that is not just about Mark. So she's asking him when he's going to show up for the marriage because, she asked for consistency and someone to make her feel appreciated and cared for. Well, I mean... One thing is consistent. Y'all consistently argue every week. So, there's that. Honey, we got to look at the silver lining somewhere. So he's like, well, it's all on me, right? So it's all on me. She said, you've never shown up. Well, baby, he is pissed. He said, well, you throw up leaving every time. You pack your bags, but you never leave. That's because she wants you to chase her, Mark. Keep up. So then she said, well, you want me to leave? Okay. I hear y'all fussing back and forth and back, but the cats are still roaming the counters. Can we get the cats on the floor? Okay, the cat's confused. They're running around. Y'all clawing and scratching each other's eyes out. This is just too much. He said, I'm sorry I'm not what you want in a husband. I'm sorry I can't give you what you need. He said, I'm just different, but I ride through it the best that I can. She said, no, you don't. He said, have I once packed a bag and said I'm going to leave? Well, Mark, honey, pump your brakes real quick. In all fairness, you have no particular place to go. So, the bed bugs have taken over the lease. So there's that. Oh, child. Mark, baby, Mark said, I have not once left you. Mark, there's no damn where for you to go. Mark, I'm not about to let you play in my face, child. I'm just not about to let you, honey. Ooh, but seriously, Lindsay, you do end things twice an episode. You gonna get in an interview and you gonna end things. So, Mark ain't got nowhere to go, so he gonna stay. Stop saying you gonna leave because you're not. And y'all get it together. Noi and Steve. So Pastor Cal meets with Noi and she immediately starts lying. We're doing wonderful. Girl. So Steve is meeting with Dr. Pepper and he's a little bit nervous about what they're going to talk about. And she said that she's there to find out what he needs before decision day. He needs a job, honey, if you ask Noi. So Pastor Cal talks about social media posting with Noi. And he tells her the obvious, that social media can damage a marriage if you don't communicate what you're putting on there. Yes, Noi, cut it out. Plain and simple. Stop posting on social media. Meanwhile, Steve is talking about Noi's social media subliminals. And he said that the last post that she created, it created a lot of unease in him. So Dr. Pepper said, I just feel like she's running to Instagram because it's fear-based and it's childish-based as well. Don't forget that, Dr. Pepper. She said, I feel like she needs to be able to talk to you so that you can figure out how to make her less afraid. Back over with Pastor Cal, he's asking, so what do you need to know? She said, yeah, I really need to know about his finances. He said, like what? She said, like, can you get a job? I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot make this stuff up. Baby, Noi said, I need to know, can you work? Period, honey. And that's on 401k. Baby, are you working? Yes or no? So he asked her if she felt like their marriage was in danger. Yes, Will Robinson, it's in danger. She said, yeah, I mean, it is because I feel like it's fear. So then Pastor Cal said, okay, so this is a need, not a want. Yes, we need funding coming up and through the house. Yes, we do. Absolutely, Pastor Calvin. So she said, I've never asked him that before because we haven't had the conversations. And when she was saying that to him, I was like, I could have sworn that you have had those conversations. And if you haven't, it's probably because you were focusing on conversing and trying to convince him to quickly say, I love you. Had you not been focusing on I love you 3 days in, you could have been focusing on telling him that he needs to get a job. Child. So Pastor Cal said, well, you need to ask him how he's going to make you feel financially secure because it's a part of how you need to be loved. And it's important because especially of your past. And I thought that was very good. Pastor Calvin, absolutely. Her past is what's making her upset about the fact that she does not see a steady stream of income coming into the household. If there is a steady stream, Steve is not sharing that information with her, and it keeps her in the dark, and it makes her fearful, and it makes her act out. So you're right. Moving forward. So Dr. Pepper said, on her side, one of the reasons that she may be fearful is because you've not taken a job. I'm sorry, y'all. But the way that they keep casually saying, you need to work. You need a job if you want to be with me, is sending me to the moon, honey. It is sending me to the moon, honey. She said, look, you need to work and make the girl feel secure because as far as she's concerned, you're not a great economic partner. And child, not Steve gonna take a sip when Dr. Pepper said that. Yes, Joe Millionaire, either reveal the riches or get a job. Some type of job. Not a 9 to 5 if you don't want to work 9 to 5, but get something. I'm tired of repeating myself to you, Steve. I'm speaking directly to you, honey. Let's get it. Let's reveal what we're gonna reveal, honey. But then at the same time, after watching this episode, don't reveal nothing. Okay, because Noi got on my nerves. When I tell y'all she got on my central nervous system this episode, between her and Isaac, oh, baby, we got a lot to discuss tomorrow on that live. So Dr. Pepper said that he needs to reveal his plan and he needs to know if she can work out the issues between them and not run to social media. But baby, Steve rushed right on past him working and he said, basically, I didn't sign up to work and I wonder if things are going to work out between the two of us. Steve don't want to work out. He don't want to freelance. He don't want to do nothing. He just wants to roam the earth until his bank account gets a little bit low. Katina and Olajuwon. 16 days until decision day. So Katina says she doesn't know if she likes meeting with the experts all the time and talking about her feelings. Girl, you need it more than anybody else, okay? Especially dealing with Isaac. You definitely need to speak to an expert. So she goes to meet with Pastor Cal and she tells him that things are fine and that they have a little arguing here and there. He said that's okay as long as it's both of you and not just one way. Katina, now is the time to pipe up, honey. Speak your speech because it's definitely one-sided. Now is the time to say so. So he asked her how they're going and how things are doing now. And so she tells him about the dating app mess. And she was upset about how he approached it and he got loud with her. And Pastor Cal is like, yeah, we heard. Oh, okay. So you heard the verbal aggressiveness, but didn't do nothing. Got it. So Katina is making excuses for Olajuwon as she likes to do. saying, I just feel like it was just a trigger for him. So then Pastor Cal told her to ask if there were deep things about him that made him who he is. Because finding out who he is will help her to understand why he behaves the way that he does. What about how she feels? Pastor Cal, you sat right down here. Honey, y'all should have called back Dr. Viviana. At least she got in there when it came to Isaac. Pastor Cal, what about her feelings? He behaves that way because he sees her as a pushover. He sees her as weak. That's why he behaves that way. It ain't got nothing to do with his deeply seated and rooted issues. So then he asked about intimacy, and he said, so what's up? Child, know what's up. He said, I don't want no details, but I mean, what's up? Please let them wait. Pastor Cal, please let them wait. If they're not having sex, child, that's a blessing for us all. Soul ties are a real thing. She said, well, he's attracted to me. He said, how do you know he's attracted to you? She gonna say, I thought you didn't want to know no details. I know that's right. So then he said, okay, well, give me some details where I don't blush. She said, well, he pats me on my butt. They do that in sports. What else you got? She said, he kisses my neck. Okay, we're getting warmer. So then she asked, she's like, does that sound like he's attracted to me? He said, yeah, but I mean, it doesn't lead to anything. She said, no, because, I just want to make sure I have a certain feeling inside of me. I don't want to be dizzy. He said, what now? She said, I don't want to be dizzy off the D. Girl, not with this man of the cloth. Oh, child. Baby, Katina is a mess. But I mean, he did ask. Okay, he did ask. She said that basically being dizzy off the D is when the sex is so good that it clouds your judgment and you think that you love the person. And then after the D stops, you realize that you don't even like the person. Well, I mean, at least you and your wig are thinking ahead. But Olajuwon does not look capable of making a woman see stars around her head like they do in the cartoons after he beds her down. I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine. Moving forward. So then Pastor Cal tells her, go on, get dizzy off of it. It's okay in the marriage. I beg to differ with them anyway. Okay. So then he asked her if she had doubts, and she said yes, because things can end at any time, and she's been in relationships where things just abruptly ended. And he was like, no, that's a single person's thinking. And I mean, you haven't done it due to you doubting you being together. So that's probably the reason why the two of you haven't slept together. No, Pastor Cal, he said no. She wants to do it, but she's trying to play it off because he doesn't want to do it. And anything that he wants to do, she gonna do it. In the next scene, Dr. Pepper tells us that she's been getting reports about Olajuwon and his harsh ways for weeks, but it could be the dynamic of their marriage. But intention is everything, so she needs to know where he's coming from. A place of ignorance, but let's see what he says. So baby, they sit down. She's like, okay, so where are you guys at? He turns into Pinocchio, nose growing with every statement. Me and Katina have so much in common. I mean, even when we have dull moments, we find the humor. She said, oh, okay, well, what would make it better? He said, for her to just keep being herself, keep being vulnerable, expressing who she is. Child, he's so full of it. He said, I just feel like Katina says what she thinks I want to hear because she's afraid you will say no on decision day. She is afraid that you will leave her or chew her out. That's why. She said, okay, so anything else? Because, honey, she knows what's happening behind the scenes, but she's just letting Olajuwon talk, okay? He said, oh, yeah, and the dating app. So Dr. Pepper said, I heard about that, and it didn't sit right with me. Because you went through the entire dinner, being nice, waited until the end, everybody was confused, and then you said what you wanted to say. She said, what about how you talked to her? Because my impression is that you talk down to her. Yes, Dr. Pepper, honey, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. He said, do I get a little stern? Absolutely. Boy, it is more than stern. It's degrading. He said, but do I talk down to her? No. So then she said, have you ever apologized? He said, yeah, we've had plenty of conversations. So then Dr. Pepper said, well, you need to examine how you speak, because I heard that you told her she has no life skills. True. She has nothing to offer. True. She's behind in maturity. True. She said, I need to hear your side of that. I know that's right, Dr. Pepper, honey. Don't let him skirt on past that. Baby, then all of a sudden, we see Isaac. Olajuwon leaves, and I usher in Isaac. So he gonna say, anybody that wants to say something, they can say it to me. Because this is my life, and I don't play that. Like, I don't even think this is funny at all. Child, now they piping up on Dr. Pepper's. And she said, well, I don't think it's funny either. He said, you're painting me as the bad guy, and I don't like that. He said, if she feels like I treat her that way, then she should say no on decision day. See, I knew it was all an act. Now he's going to take it out on Katina because he thinks that she said something to them that she shouldn't have said, and it's going to be a big old mess. Oh, and you're holding your own paintbrush, sir? Nobody is painting you to be anything. You are holding the paintbrush and you have colored that canvas all the way Isaac. Nobody had to do that. That was all you. Okay? This is who you are. Oh, and watch your tone with Dr. Pepper. Okay. So then he goes in his little interview. He's like, yeah, Dr. Pepper want to come to me with all this he say, she say. So Dr. Pepper said, so how about you talk to her in a way that doesn't feel demeaning? If you feel she's lacking, find new ways to express that. He said, well, that was week 1 and 2. I did feel that way, but now that she's shown she can handle her own, I don't feel that way anymore. Well, I am so glad that she got your approval. I am so happy that she got the Olajuwon stamp of approval. Boy, goodbye. So then he blows some smoke up her butt, but child, Dr. Pepper ain't buying it. Then he tells her that he now has a big heart for Katina and sees that this process has made his wife grow up. Where is your personal growth? I hear so much about what you want Katina to accomplish and how you're molding her to be some great woman. What exactly have you gotten out of this process, and what has become of you since the day that you said I do up until now? Because I see a regression as opposed to progression, so I'm just confused as to why you always focused on her. But y'all, maybe that's just me. So Dr. Pepper said, so if today you were to decide and this was decision day, what would you say? He's like, I just can't really say right now, because there's just so much time left. No, it's not. I'm hoping it's only 2 episodes tops. I'm ready to get this over with, honey. 1 and done. You ain't got no more time, bruh. What are you going to say? Yes or no? Noi and Steve. So he brings up the second social media post, right? He's telling her that it bothered him, and he wants to know, why does she feel it's so important to let the whole world know that they're in distress? Because she's used to childish relationships using Instagram as a therapist. That's why. They go to Instagram, they post these things for people to rally around them and DM them about how they're so in the right and you're so in the wrong. I have been in one of those relationships. Noi is, child, she's a lost cause. I'm going to say that. So she was like, well, that post wasn't directed at you. He said, man, come on. Even if it wasn't, people are going to assume that it was. She's like, well, it wasn't, but sometimes I do feel that way in this marriage. Well, then it's about him. Steve, I want you to really weigh the pros and the cons of this social media marriage. Is this what you want? Because every time you go to that beach, it's going to end up on social media, and I'm going to know, honey, and I'm going to talk about it. So you need to make sure that this is what you want. He said, well, that's a hurtful thing to say. And baby, she did not offer any apology, no apology at all. She just said, well, I understand that, but this is my social media and I have a right to post what I want to post. Baby. He said, well, did you not agree with Pastor Cal? She said, yeah, I agreed, but he's separate from me. You're separate from me. No, actually, you're one. If we really want to be real. Nor getting on my nerves. Like, it's really no other way to put it. She is really grinding my gears. She really is. Now, don't get me wrong. Steve has his faults because he will not give her a solid plan. He will not work. I personally think he's lazy. I know everybody else thinks he's Joe Millionaire. But at the same damn time, Noi is so childish, so passive aggressive, so petty. It really gets on my nerves. Your husband just told you that he's upset and you say, oh, okay, well, this is my social media and I'm gonna post what I want to post. Well, then you should have stayed single until you were mature enough to understand that now you are one. It's not just Noi and it's not just Steve. Child, this is a whole fool. She said, I can make my own decisions. So basically what she's saying is, I'm going to continue to post, and if you don't like it, tough titty. She has no consideration for Steve's feelings whatsoever. It's all about Noi and sushi. So she's like, I respect his perspective. He said, well, do you? Do you respect it? He said, I'm not comfortable hearing that this. He said, listen, let me just tell you straight up. This is not what I want in a relationship. This is not what I want in a marriage. Baby, she's still over there looking at him like, oh, well, hunching her shoulders up, tilting her head to the side. Okay, Steve. If you don't leave Noi's immature ass to her cellular device and her Instagram stories, it's not going to change. She's being passive aggressive yet again. She does not care about your feelings in the slightest. You are communicating to her straight up, I don't like this. I don't want a marriage that's this way. Now, if the roles were reversed and she told Steve, I don't want a marriage where the man doesn't work, and he said, well, tough, because I'm never working, everybody will be in an uproar. So I feel like the fact that she's saying to him, I'm not going to respect our marriage, I'm going to let the world in whether you like it or not, that's just disrespectful. She's like, well, you know what? We'll just have to agree to disagree. Steve, leave Noi's crater face alone until she matures, honey. Okay, please leave her alone. He said, I'm just curious. What more do you feel you deserve? Like, what can I do? What can anybody do? She said, I need a partner to show that they're financially secure. So then she talks about her upbringing, and she said, I love you, but you're just too relaxed about our finances. He said, I did talk to Pastor Cal about it and talked about what I should do as far as working. And I do want to put a plan in place. So then he said, would you be able to trust and believe in me if I did that? She said, well, I think it's going to take some time, because I need to see a plan. Girl, you said you only needed $40,000 to feel secure. Just say you want him up with you and working when you are and sleeping when you are and moving when you are, because it keeps changing. But aside from him working, you're going to still ignore his feelings and keep posting those things on Instagram. Job or no job. It will be a no for me. Like, you can grow old with sriracha. Moving forward, Mark and Lindsay. So he's going to meet with Mark. Pastor Cal is going to meet with Mark, and he wants to talk to Mark about how Lindsay responds to things. And Mark said, well, it's about her delivery. Of course, we keep hearing that over and over again. So then Pastor Cal tells him, if you don't tell her how to treat you, then she's going to treat you however she wants to. But he has, though. That's the point. He's told her and she goes back to doing her. So, how many times you got to tell somebody the same thing before you get the picture that they don't care? Mark wants to know, why does she go to such a negative place? He said Lindsay reminds him of his mom the way that she argues. And Pastor Cal said, are you afraid that you're becoming your father? He said, I've never thought about that. He said his father wouldn't say anything before his mom just started ripping him a new one. And that is exactly what Lindsay is doing. So Pastor Cal tells him, Lindsay isn't your mom. Really? Because it's looking like to me. She may not be, but she acts like it. And he doesn't want that in a wife. So then Pastor Cal said, if she felt secure, the arguing will most likely stop. But it won't, Pastor Cal, because she finds fault in everything that he does. Nothing is good enough for Lindsay. She has her own mommy issues. So until she works those out, Mark gonna still be getting the brunt of everything that is Lindsay. So Mark tells him, I just feel like it should be better by now. Pastor Cal said, says who? Why are you trying to keep this man in this unhealthy cycle? Huh, Calvin? Why? It should be better by now. Okay, they've only known each other for 5 minutes. Mark was like, well, I just want us to be healthy. Over on the other side, Dr. Pepper goes to see Lindsay, and she wants to know, what are the tough parts? Lindsay said that Mark is inconsistent and, he's giving her whiplash. One minute he's doing this and the next minute he pulls back. So Dr. Pepper tells her to stop saying what she's going to do in the future. Stop forecasting. She does that a lot because it's going to make him defensive. Talk about the present and don't forecast. So she's trying to help her to say things without putting Mark down. And she says she needs to ask questions because that'll work better with Mark. Lindsay was like, well, I feel like I get mad to cover up sadness. And this is when I really started to see another side of Lindsay. Okay. And she said, I'm just sad all the time. She said, I always feel like it's always bad on top of bad. Like nothing in my life has really been happy. It's been mostly sadness. Oh. So then she said that her mom truly never showed her love. She said her mom would always cut her down and she would wonder, am I angry or am I sad? Well, Lindsay, that's the same thing that you're doing to Mark. If you step outside of yourself and you look and stop for a moment and say, dang, I cut him down every chance I get. That is your mom reincarnated. Lindsay, you need to work on you before marriage, honey. You really do. Like, I think she felt that this would be a quick fix to find love, the little love that she's missing. That's why she's always running away, hoping that he'll chase her so she'll feel wanted because she didn't really feel wanted by her mom. Lindsay, that's not going to work. It's not going to work. So Dr. Pepper gives her 3 questions to ask Mark. Number 1 is, what is love to you now? Number 2, can you define what an emotional connection is to him? And number 3, how can you walk away from disagreements? Dr. Pepper, why didn't you touch on the fact that she says she's constantly sad? Oh, child, y'all gonna produce a show if y'all don't do nothing else. Jasmina and Michael. Pastor Cal meets with Michael and Jasmina meets with Dr. Pepper. And so Michael tells Pastor Cal that he was doing things for Jasmina at first out of obligation because that's what he thought a husband would do. But now he's doing it because he actually likes her. So Pastor Cal was like, see, work makes the feelings come. So then on the other side with Jasmina, Dr. Pepper asked her what she needs. And she said, she's worried that she doesn't know enough about his past. She wants to know him because she can't be married to a stranger. Girl, what are you talking about? You literally signed up to marry a stranger. Do you think you're his therapist or his wife? He is not going to spill his guts when you won't even touch the man. Okay. So Dr. Pepper said, well, he needs to trust you. Have you given him support? Absolutely not. Child, she didn't even support Katina when she came over there hollering. She was just looking. And that's the same way she just looks at Michael. She said, we're different with our trust. He feels like you have to earn it, and I feel like you have it until I don't trust you anymore. Back over with Michael, Pastor Cal was asking him what would happen if you reached over and touched her. He said, I don't know. Like, we used to kiss goodnight until, we unpacked some things, and I realized that she was doing it out of obligation as a wife. Even though she didn't feel connected to him, she was doing it. So Pastor Cal said, well, that was a dumb move because Michael said that he told her to stop doing that. Pastor Cal feels like Michael eventually came around, so would Jasmina. I disagree. Kissing is different from making coffee. She's not attracted to him. So even if she continuously kissed him, it's not going to grow a spark unless something else happens. That's what I think, child. Y'all comment down below and let me know what you think. So he tells him that he needs to initiate touch. Over with Dr. Pepper, Jasmina said, I don't feel sexual towards Michael because, I need emotional, and that hasn't come yet. So Dr. Pepper encourages her to do more touch. She said, let me just say this. Touch is fine. I don't mind him touching me. It's that when he touches me, I feel nothing. And again, so Pastor Cal's advice is null and void. Michael, don't listen to him doing all that touching, honey. She don't feel it. She does not feel it. Baby, Dr. Pepper act like she ain't even hear Jasmina. She gonna say, well, I encourage the two of you to hold hands. Child, we see what holding hands got us. Remember last season when she encouraged Zach and Michaela to hold hands? Okay. Moving forward. So then Dr. Pepper tells her, you can have the best marriage and not want to touch your husband. Well, this is not the same, Dr. Pepper, because at one point you are attracted to them in the first place. She is not physically attracted to him. So it's never going to be that way. Jasmina is not coming around no time soon. In the next scene, Mark and Lindsay are talking about their meeting with the experts, and Mark gets emotional about the mother part of the meeting. And so he asks why she goes to such a place of hurt and wants her to speak to him from a place of empathy so that he's not thinking about his mom. I feel they both need to just pump the brakes and work on themselves. That's my advice. So Lindsay was like, well, what is love to you? He said, someone that accepts me for me. Okay, for better or for goldfish, basically. So they go over the other questions, and Lindsay feels like they finally had a breakthrough. Child, I hope it sticks this time, but I know it ain't. Moving forward. Back with Jasmina, she said Dr. Pepper really helped her. Okay, girl. So her and Michael, they come back together to talk about their meeting, and Jasmina said they talked about how he could trust her. He said he needs her to be more vulnerable. And she said, okay, I'm trying to be more vulnerable because at first, I wasn't giving you nothing, but I feel like I'm really coming around now. So he starts asking her about the chemistry and whatnot and if it could be built over time. And she said she told Dr. Pepper if she goes into decision day and they're not physical, but her feelings are there for him, then the physical part is going to come. Jasmina just be saying any old thing. Jasmina, that's a whole lie. Okay? I don't buy it, child. I'm not buying nothing you selling. So they start talking about the conversations that they have or don't have. And he said that they become easier because he likes her now and he wants to talk to her. So then he asked her if she feels like it's enough time for them to build the emotional bond. She said, well, if we're putting in the work, then it could be enough. It could be enough. He was like, okay, well, we definitely have to do that. Child, anyway, Steve and Noi. So they're sitting down to discuss finances, and she said that she's nervous. Noi, no time for nerves, honey. Let's hear it. Let's hear if Steve is a millionaire. Child, let's get into it. So Noi said, well, I feel like we should have one account for bills, but two separate accounts. And child, she don't want Steve dipping into her money in case he don't go to work, and she ain't fooling me. So they start talking, right? They come up with a split of responsibilities if he's working as well. And so he said, well, do I need to work full time? She said, well, I need to see some income coming in. Like, I would need to know what the plan is to make me feel better. He said, okay, so I'm not above a full-time job. I'm not. Okay. We're moving in the right direction. But he said, if I can make the same amount or more, then I don't feel like it's necessary. Understood, Steve. Because some people are making a bunch of money. And they've saved a bunch of money by switching their car insurance to Geico or whatever. But at the same damn time, Steve, we need to see it in motion. Yeah, you can make a lot of money freelancing, but get to the freelancing. Oh my goodness. He said, I know you're used to traditional work, but I've done entrepreneurial work before, and I've really been getting into that, and I've been looking into it more. But I'm going to need you on board. So then he going to say, maybe you want to have some time to yourself as well, before you have the kids and everything. Child, not Steve recruiting Noi to the unemployment line. Oh, child. Not Steve recruiting Noi to the unemployment line. Steve, just say that you want to sleep during the day and you want Noi to sleep with you, child, so that y'all are both happy. He said, I just feel like you can appreciate that before you have the kids. So then he asked her about kids. She was like, well, I want to have them like maybe next year. He said, oh, okay, well, I'm cool with that. Noi, you need to be raised first. And how are you ready to have a child within a year but don't know if he even gonna work? This is dumb. Okay, y'all two playing in my face. Noi won't be happy unless she knows that the money is guaranteed and stable, but she only requires $40,000 in Boston, and is mad that he won't work but ready to have his baby and tell him that she loves him after 3 days of being together, when daycare is $50,000 a month. Noi and Steve, y'all gone. 14 days until decision day. The couples are going to play volleyball. Y'all know how Mavs likes to do, honey. They love a good volleyball game. And Noi can't go because her head hurts, but she sent Steve on, honey. And we all know Steve will not miss an opportunity to do absolutely nothing but have some fun. Steve loves to have a good time, child. So Pastor Cal said, we have a little surprise for them. We're going to be watching every move that they make because they want to see how they're getting along with each other. So they're playing volleyball and whatnot. Baby Katina is awful, but Olajuwon is trying to, coach her. At least he's not yelling, child, so I'm going to give him that. And Mark is like, Steve is doing great for Team Meyer. Here go Lindsay. Well, no, his name is Moy. Why don't we just call it M&M? Child, it doesn't matter what it's being called. Steve is great because, all he does is frolic on the beach all the time. So, it's not really that hard. Steve has been practicing for this moment his entire life, child. So they all sit down and Steve asks how they're doing. And Michael said, they need to have the deep conversations to get to know each other. And so Mark expresses his feelings. And Lindsay is talking about a stuck volleyball in the ceiling. Lindsay, stay focused. So then she starts to get emotional. And Mark is giving her absolutely nothing. He's leaned so far away from Lindsay, he might as well be sitting in the volleyball sand. Nothing. So Dr. Pepper is watching, right? Her and Pastor Cal. And she's like, he needs to give her something in this moment. Like, she was crying and Mark was stone-faced and bug-eyed, just looking crazy. And I think that's because there have been so many negative experiences that when Lindsay does show a bit of vulnerability or even like a tear, Mark is like basically numb to it. It's like it doesn't really matter. So then it was Olajuwon's turn, baby. Here we go. He said, I think that we're doing really well and we're working on our communication. And I apologize to the group about the dinner. But yeah. Dr. Pepper has some concerns. So I said, okay, well, let's talk about it. You didn't exactly say it like that, but let's hear what you got a lie to say. He said, Dr. Pepper said that I belittle my wife. And so then he lies and says, yeah, I told her you got the wrong perception of me. She's more reserved than I am, and I like to talk. Y'all all know that. So if I'm talking a lot, it may seem like I'm belittling. No, Isaac, anyone with 2 or more brain cells are very clear on what belittling is. We're not new, okay? So then he looks at her and he's like, do I belittle you? She just smiling. Katina, does he belittle you? You can speak freely. This is a safe space. That's exactly what that was giving me. I'm afraid to say no. He's like, yeah, look at how she's looking right now. She couldn't even believe the conversation that we were having. I told her, it's cool that you heard this, but I'm a grown man and I don't do that. I feel like as an expert, you should take all this he say and she say out of it. He said Dr. Peppers didn't help me at all. Maybe you met with the wrong person. She's Dr. Pepper, not Dr. Peppers. There's no S. But baby, whoever she is, baby, she was waiting in the wings and it's about to go down. So he's steady talking. He was like, yeah, 90% of it was a waste. Yeah, I was just catching her up basically. So then, he speaks directly to production, honey. He looks directly at them. He said, look, I'm speaking directly to y'all. If you got anything to say, if you want to feed something to someone, make sure that it helps my marriage. Baby, so here come Dr. Peppers and Pastor Cal. So the music is mounting and here they come. Pastor Cal said, well, you know what? We want to talk to you because we've been listening. He'll go, oh, fuck. Nah, Don't cuss. Don't backpedal now. You had all that mouth, so keep that same energy. So then they take a seat. So Dr. Pepper goes, well, what I did with Olajuwon that he loved so much was to interpret for the people who watch him every day so he can clear up what his marriage is. Well, she kept it classy, honey, by saying that because it definitely couldn't have been me. She said, we may not agree, but she's not about to go back and forth with Olajuwon as long as the marriage is successful and it's working. That's all that matters. Charlo would have busted his bubble real quick, but that's just me. So then he tried to backpedal. He was like, yeah, the conversation was, misconstrued, but, I'm happy. I'm happy that we cleared the air, but the marriage is for me and Katina. It is not for America, not what y'all think. Okay, pause. As I'm listening to him lie, child, because he ain't saying nothing, where is his neck tattoo? What are these scenes being shot? Are they out of order? This isn't making any sense to me. So Katina just standing there looking held hostage. Baby, if she wants you, have at it. I give it 6 months until she realizes her worth without these cameras. Moving forward. So then Pastor Cal tells Katina that she's all about resolving things. He goes, she's exactly what you need. So then he said, do you hear me, boy? She's exactly what you need. Pastor Cal, is this real? Why does he deserve Katina? Because she strokes his ego or does whatever it takes to make it better? I'm disappointed in y'all. I really am. I'm very disappointed. So then O is like, yeah, that's what I love about my marriage. Like, I'm not in love, but I love that. So then Pastor Cal gonna say, no, you're not in love, but sometimes you're in love before you think you are. Nothing about the way that he treats this woman says love. What are y'all saying? Pastor Cal, please pump the brakes, honey. Absolutely not. So then they move on to Lindsay and Mark. Dr. Pepper said, don't look scared. Pastor Cal said, oh, okay, well, he always looks scared. Honey, and does. A constant state of shock. Do y'all hear me? So they tell Mark that Lindsay needs to feel that he's connected to her. And, they said a little bit to them, child, they ain't talking about nothing. So then they go to Michael and Jasmina, and she said they had a great conversation when they got home about her vulnerability. So Pastor Cal was asking about the touch, and she was like, well, let me just be clear. I told Dr. Pepper that I don't strong arm him. Like, if he wants to touch me, he can. I don't mind the touch. I just feel nothing from it. Ooh, child. Now, why would she say this in front of all these people? Ooh, honey. So then Dr. Pepper said, well, don't say it that way. Why don't you say the word yet? Because it just seems so definitive, like it's just the end all be all. Say yet. I think she said what she meant. And that was the end of the episode. Child, I didn't even touch on Steve and Noi, I guess because Noi wasn't there. She wasn't present, but it really wasn't going to give nothing no way because Noi learned absolutely nothing. She's still going to post on social media. Steve is trying extra hard. Honey, I don't know if his lease is up and he needs a place to stay while he freelanced and whatnot. But child, this is a whole fool. But y'all already know we are going to meet tomorrow night so that we can really get into it as we get into it. Tell me exactly what you thought about this episode. I thought Noi had a nasty disposition and she's being very childish. I felt like Jasmina was just blowing smoke up our butts. I felt like Olajuwon got caught in the act, but Dr. Pepper didn't knock if she bucked. She was a little bit calm, but honey, I would have really went there, but that's just me. And as far as Mark and Lindsay are concerned, it's Mark and Lindsay. Y'all, please don't hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. See you here tomorrow night for the live at 8 Central Standard Time. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.